Welcome to Chima Invests. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects every single one of us, but it's surrounded by so much confusion and, well, awkwardness. We're talking about money. All right, let's just get right into it. We're going to start by challenging a huge cultural lie that we've all been told, one that quietly shapes our entire lives and our relationship with happiness. So just let this question sink in for a second. What if everything you've been taught about money is backwards? I mean, really think about that. You know, it's kind of funny. The people who are always the quickest to say money doesn't matter are so often the ones whose lives have been completely crushed by not having it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that old saying.
Okay, look at this number, 72%. According to the American Psychological Association, that's how many American adults feel stressed about money. This isn't some small niche group. We're talking about nearly 3 out of every 4 people you meet on the street.
And this right here really gets to the heart of the problem. We live in a society that tells us caring about money is greedy or shallow. Yet most of us are walking around with this invisible, heavy weight of financial stress every single day. It messes with our sleep, our health, our relationships. The idea that money doesn't matter is what some people call a luxury belief. It's really easy to say when you don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. But for most folks, it's just not reality.
So all this stress, it builds what I call the prison of scarcity. And it's not some abstract concept. Let's dig into the very real, tangible ways a lack of money can actually control your life.
See, when you don't have enough money, you're not truly free. You're trapped in this decision-making prison. Every single choice, from what you eat for dinner to whether you can afford to have kids, gets filtered through this one nagging question: can I afford this? It is an absolutely exhausting way to live, and it shrinks your world down to only what is financially possible, not what's actually best for you. I mean, just think about your own life. Do you take the job you're passionate about or the one that pays the bills? Can you afford to see a doctor when you feel sick, or do you just cross your fingers and hope it goes away? Can you help a friend or a family member who's going through a tough time? These aren't small things. They are life-altering decisions that are basically being made for you by your bank account when you're stuck in scarcity. Here's a quick reality check for you. If the paycheck just disappeared, would you still go to work? For the vast majority of people, the answer is a hard no. And what does that tell you? It means you're trading your most valuable, non-renewable resource, your time, for money simply out of necessity. You're not living. You're just renting out your life to survive. And the impact doesn't just stop with you. It ripples out. Money problems are the #1 cause of divorce. It's not just about incompatibility or whatever. It's the constant grinding stress and fear that financial strain puts on a relationship. The very thing we're all taught is impolite to talk about is literally tearing families apart. So, that's the problem. It's pretty grim, right? But what's the solution? Well, it starts when we completely redefine what it means to be wealthy. Because I promise you, it's probably not what you've been led to believe. This is the absolute core of it all. True wealth has almost nothing to do with fancy cars or designer clothes. It's about having options. It's about having the freedom to design a life that actually aligns with your values, not one that's dictated by your bills. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got a life governed by fear. You're trapped, you can't really help the people you care about, and every risk feels like it could lead to ruin. But on the right, that's a life of freedom and possibility. You can leave a toxic job, you can help a friend in crisis, you can confidently say no to things you don't want to do, and you can take calculated risks, knowing that failure won't destroy you. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it absolutely buys this freedom. This quote points to something really deep. The true power isn't in the spending, it's in the knowing. Just knowing you have a safety net, knowing you have options, knowing you're in control. That provides a sense of security and satisfaction that no physical object can ever come close to. So how does all of this actually affect our minds? Let's take a look at the difference between a brain that's stuck in survival mode versus one that has the room to think strategically. When you are constantly worried about making ends meet, your brain chemistry literally changes. It enters survival mode, and it floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol. This makes you more reactive, less creative, and way more likely to make a poor short-term decision just to get by. It's not a character flaw, it's a biological response to chronic stress. And that survival mode is what keeps you running on what I call the financial hamster wheel. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You work to pay bills, which just allows you to keep working to pay more bills, and this cycle can repeat for decades. And you have to realize this system benefits others. Your financial dependency makes you a reliable employee and a profitable customer for lenders. And this just lays it out so perfectly. A brain in scarcity is only focused on surviving today. Failure feels like a disaster. Opportunities look like dangerous risks. But a brain in security, it can plan for the future. Failure becomes a learning experience, and calculated risks are seen for what they really are: opportunities for growth. Financial security isn't just about money, it's about unlocking your brain's full potential.
This brings us to a really important section. Let's talk about what real wealth looks like, because the media and Instagram have sold us a complete fantasy.
Okay, this is one of the most important distinctions you can ever learn. Looking rich is about spending. It's about buying things like luxury cars and expensive clothes that lose value the second you buy them. Being rich, on the other hand, is about owning. It's about acquiring assets, things like stocks, real estate, or a business that grow in value over time and generate income for you.
And this is exactly what it looks like in the real world. The person in that flashy new car might have a mountain of debt and be one paycheck away from disaster. Meanwhile, the actual millionaire lives modestly because they'd rather invest that car payment and let compound interest build their fortune for them. One is playing the short-term status game. The other is playing the long-term wealth game.
The person described here might seem boring. And that's exactly the point. The average millionaire isn't a celebrity or a lottery winner. They are typically a business owner in their late 50s who lives below their means and has been disciplined about investing for a very, very long time. Wealth isn't an event. It's a process of consistent, disciplined habits.
So how do you do it? Well, the path is surprisingly straightforward. First, you have to change your mindset. Money is a tool for freedom. Second, you have to make the conscious choice to prioritize building real wealth over just projecting an image of wealth. Third, make investing a consistent, non-negotiable habit. And finally, you gotta have the patience to let the magic of compound interest do the heavy lifting for you over time. I want to leave you with this final thought. For many people, financial scarcity means they can't afford to take the risks that could lead to massive success, like starting a business or changing careers. So ask yourself this. If you had the financial security to fail without it being a catastrophe, what big risk would you take? What kind of life would you really build?
The potential that financial freedom unlocks is just immense. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has given you a new perspective on money, not as a source of stress, but as a tool for freedom. Be sure to tune in for more insights right here on Chima Invests.